If you're listening to the In the Money Players podcast, this is a next up on the show situation. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, hello. We're back with more coverage of the Keeneland Fall Meet this Saturday. We've got the Grade 1 QE2 exciting race. We'll get to that, but we're going to look at the whole late pick 5 with thoughts, tips, and analysis from me, Peter Thomas Fornatow, and Nick Tammaro. Nick, how are things?
Going great, my friend. Looking forward to a big weekend, and obviously all the contest folks out there will be involved at Keeneland, and a nice card. A lot of big fields on tap for him.
If you're an early bird listener, I probably said this already at some point in the show before we got here, but I'll do it again. Friday is that $400 contest where you have to be at Keeneland, and then Saturday, the big one, the BCBC NHC qualifier. That one does have online components as well. Go to Keeneland's website to get details about that. You know what? I'll pop it in the show notes as well if you want to check it out there, because we want to see a lot of people. You know, we've had a pretty good run lately, Nick, with In the Money affiliated people in contests. Maybe we can keep it going at Keeneland. You are no longer allowed to play in this one, though, right?
I am not. No, I have not played at Keeneland since, 20, maybe 20. Yeah. October of 20 would have been the last time. I don't think I played in 21, or maybe I didn't. I can't remember. But yeah, 8 years ago was my Keeneland highlight. It was back when the big event was on Sunday. I won the Saturday contest and then finished 5th or 6th on Sunday. So I got 2 BCBCs in one weekend. And yeah, nice. It was a fun weekend. And it was right as the Astros playoff run was getting into high gear. So it was a fun time. But yeah, I qualified at Keeneland in the fall at least 3 times. I want to say 18, 17, and 15 or 16.
Yeah, I feel like one of the first times I became aware of you was a big run in Keeneland. That must have been, that
was 14, grade 1 gamble. I finished 3rd.
That's what it was. Yeah. And I was covering.
That was the year I played 2 contests and qualified for the NHC twice.
Not too bad. Well, one thing that's great, though, about these Keeneland contests, that I love the flat price structure. I mean, yes, there's added value to winning. There's a tremendous emotional value to winning. I know, for Matt Miller, he considers this like a major. He wants to win, but that's his attitude about these contests generally. What I love is the ability, with all the seats, the ability to just have a really good day, a 6th place finish likely to get you that BCBC seat. It's definitely something folks should be paying attention to. And you know what? We talked about it long enough. I won't pre-record an ad for the pod. I think we just covered it.
I agree.
Let's look at some of these races. The back end of this card is going to be where this contest is presumably won or lost. Not if Tommy Massis is involved in race 2 with $1,000 exacta or something like that.
Right.
But generally speaking, it's the last 5 that are going to be determinative. We kick it off with an optional claimer, $100,000 race where there's also a non-winner of 3 condition attached. Who did you like in this?
I think really what your ultimate opinion has to boil down to is how you feel about Hilarito, who is going to likely be favored. I do think One Magic Philly is going to get plenty of support as well, moving into the barn of Brendan Walsh with Flavian on board with a lot of stakes for him. But Hilarito has been really well backed, was really well backed last time, won the 2 other, then now goes up a condition. Looks like the main speed on paper. I don't really know if I completely trust her. She's been very good when she's able to get the lead. She's obviously very, very fast, and 5 for 6 lifetime with only 1 blemish. They took her to the big leagues at Ellis, and she seems to have come out none the worse for wear. So she's the horse to beat. I'm a little intrigued by Winning You're In on the outside. First time Lasix, probably has the ability to stalk and pound. Some of her better races were when she's done it. No question, Pete, she's got to run faster. She needs to up her game from a speed figure perspective. But she felt like a horse I can make a case for. So I think One Magic Philly and Winning You're In on the outside are probably the biggest alternatives. So probably something like 5 and 9 as alternatives to the 8.
And how would you grade them or list them for the picks I'm going to send around for In the Money Plus?
I think I would list them equally. I don't really know if I want to separate them too much.
No top pick for you there. Just going to play those 3. I was with Hilarito as well, mainly because I think that I think that she's going to be able to make the top in here. And as you point out, that's where the best work has been done. One Magic Philly looks like the one, if anybody's going to run her down to me. Brendan Walsh, been absolutely on fire. Granted, One Magic Philly's not been with Walsh long, so I'm not sure how much that matters. Maybe a little, but this is a graded stakes winner. who's shown some speed in the past. I was going to try to get out 8 and 5. I'm going to take another longer look at your 9 and maybe work that one in on some tickets as well as we move to race number 7 and the turf mile and 3/16 allowance race we've got cooking here. And I've got a goofy one for you, Nick. Hang on, though. It looks like I wrote the numbers down wrong. What did I do? That's no fun. I was very interested in the 4, Fayette Spirit. Probably not fast enough, this horse. But I did not hate the last run where I just thought that he ran a career best despite being against the flow. I like that this horse's top came going 9 furlongs. That's the farthest he's run. And just on the blood, I thought this horse could improve for the distance. Sometimes at these longer turf races, you'll see horses move up. I was thinking maybe this could be one, but I'm certainly not standing alone. The 5, Johnny's Rendezvous, makes all the sense in the world on figs. Could get a perfect stock and pound trip. And then the 1, Long Branch Lou, maybe could lay claim to being the best closer, given how much better of a draw he has than some of the other candidates to be best closer. I was going to play around 4, 5, and 1, but I'm not sure I wouldn't be willing to spread a little bit more. What do you think of this interesting little allowance race?
Yeah, no, this is a tough race, Pete. This is a race that not only did I have a hard time figuring out who'd be favored, I think it's just a really difficult race in general from a pace perspective. It looks like there's some real speed to the outside, so you'd like to believe there will be enough hitting early to kind of set the table for somebody late. I think that probably makes you want to upgrade a horse like Chapman's Peak, but the way the public and specifically the way the CAWs have handled Kentucky Downs form to me has been very interesting. And it's almost as if there's a tacit acknowledgement that what happens at Kentucky Downs stays there. And so those horses have not always been bet as consistently. This is obviously a beautifully bred horse for Brad Cox out of the Grade 1 winning mare Dickinson, who ran once at Keeneland, did have a little bit of trouble. I would assume he's going to get a lot of money. You know, the spread between him and the favorite for me was only just a point, 4-1 to 5-1. So I was interested in Chapman's Peak. I think he's a horse that could be very dangerous. I made Valentinian the favorite. If they bet Valentinian, it's going to be because of his dirt form. Rachel's Valentina is not a turf influence. So, this is a horse that I would want no part of from a wagering perspective. I would obviously be much more focused on horses like Long Branch Lou and Chapman's Peak because I think this race is going to get quick on the front end, and that would obviously help both of them.
6 and 1, I wrote down. Any other numbers to number check for you?
I back up with the 5.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I obviously had Johnny in the mix as well. Let's go to the hinge of this Saturday pick 5. We head to the dirt for a 6 furlong allowance race for these 3-year-old fillies. This was a race where I was very spready. I'll give you my ideas again here, and we'll bring you in, see if you have any more clarification than I do, any more certitude than I do. The 2, Lynn's Milky Way, needs the right kind of trip, but I thought might be able to getting position going forward, and then maybe getting into a stalking role. The 3, Mega Mill, another I thought would be part of the early pace mix. I like the turn back in distance and the drop in class. Anna Karina took a big step up last time as what might turn out to be the outside most drawn speed. I thought maybe Anna Karina can get a good run. And then I also wanted to mention Girls Beach Road, developing nicely, runs very efficiently through her races. This is another one I wouldn't mind keeping on side, but as you can hear, I'm a bit all over the map here with 2, 3, 8, and 9. What do you like?
Yeah, excuse me, understandably so, because this is a really tough race. It feels like they have to move in here, right? And who is that likeliest to help? I can't really take a horse like Veckamancer very seriously. She's a little too slow. I guess since Stilettos has been reinvented as an off the pace horse, maybe she's the one that you're supposed to be looking at as a horse that can kind of gather them in late. Because a lot of the horses you mentioned, Anna Karina, Gin's Beach Road, Moon Mystique, Rosado, Princess Proud, they all want to be forward. Lynn's Milky Way from the inside wants to be forward, coming in off a 4.5 furlong race. So I wanted to use Stilettos. I think Gin's Beach Road is the horse to beat by far. I do think Jose will have the advantage of potentially putting her outside the other speed, letting her settle into a rhythm and kind of go from there. So I was mainly 1s and 9s. The one off the wall horse that I could probably make a little bit of a case for, I think is Rosado who I'm hoping turf to dirt. Ian has Christian Torres just take her back and make one run. I know I mentioned her as a horse that should show speed, but she's closed effectively before. So I'll back up with her. So mainly 1-9, little 6-8 backup.
Yeah, a change in tactics might do for a risotto in this spot. The 9th race is the featured race of the day, the QE2 Cup Grade 1 action for these 3-year-old fillies. And it's a fun race. I mean, there's some interesting contenders in this spot. Where did you end up landing?
Yeah, tough race. Always a really good race and one that we look forward to. Will then, for what it's worth, is going to come out and race at Keeneland instead. So this will leave it with a field of 8.
Race at Keeneland, you mean race?
Sorry, race at Woodbine instead. Yeah, not at Keeneland. So I think Opulent Restraint is going to wire this field. And I think the reason that I say that is because there is no other speed in this race whatsoever. Right. And it's going to require a massive change in running style for anybody to be forward. And Opulent Restraint has actually been pretty disadvantaged this year. Since the Florida Oaks, she's running 3 races with fast paces. Yep. And this is not going to be one. And I know the rail is going to go back to 0 for this card, but it felt to me, perhaps it was with, with the rail up, it felt to me like it was decidedly tougher to make up ground on the Keeneland turf this week than it was last week. Last week, it seemed like every race was falling apart. This week, it seems like things are a lot fairer, if even trending more towards the side of being speed favoring. So I'm going to bank on Rosario, who I think gave this filly the best ride she's had 2 starts back in the Belmont Oaks Invitational. I'm going to bank on him getting the lead and dictating terms to everybody. I have all the respect in the world for Laurelin. I think Laurelin is outstanding. And obviously she'd be the other horse that I would use. But I'm going to bet Opulent Restraint to win. I'm going to probably use she and Laurelin as A's, press her one more time. I'll use Fion as a backup, but no more than that, because I do think she's going to really need to get her motor cranked at 1 1/8. And I just don't think she's going to get much pace to run at.
We see it very, very similarly. I did put Laurelin on top, figuring maybe not going to be too far back. And I've just been so impressed with this Goff's sales grad in the running she's done over here. Has some terrific figures. And I think he can make a case, might be sitting on a career best just looking at the pattern of her figures in her races. But I'm going to have Opulent Restraint equally for all the reasons that you said. I mean, if she gets loose, she could beat Laurelin on the square, or it's going to be a little bit of a different pace situation for Laurelin here chasing. So there's a world in which Opulent Restraint could absolutely win. The other one I wanted to mention, and we talked about a little bit last week, Simmering is maybe just a little bit interesting on the best bits of form, especially that 3rd and 1,000 guineas. This is an easier spot than the one they were originally pointing to. As we talked about last week, Ollie Sangster, having worked for Wes Ward, just a little suspicion that might have a good handle on the type of horse that will handle U.S. conditions. Probably not going to set up, but I could see this one getting a bit ignored, and one that I'd want to include more for underneath, but also probably for a penny on top. And I was just going to play against Fion, not anything other than I just didn't think it would set up, and I thought she'd catch a lot of money. But depending on what how the tickets end up shaking out, probably not a bad idea to include her. She certainly fits on her class.
Do you think it's possible Simmering is going to show speed?
It's not impossible. Yeah. I mean, it's not the speediest sort. I don't think she could hang with Opulent Restraint anyway, but could be enough to maybe prompt the pace if they decide to go that way. And
using Saez makes it feel like they might want to be a little more forward
involved. Exactly. Even if they want the lead, they're not going to get it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's you wouldn't think with Opulent Restraint there, but it could shake things up. It's an interesting. As always, a fascinating race. What I wrote I did a full horse by horse write up of this for attheraces.com, and I liked my opening line. I said, we can argue whether or not a race restricted to 3-year-olds in October should really be a grade 1, parentheses, it shouldn't. But what you can't argue is whether or not this race annually brings together an interesting field, because it does.
It does. Yeah.
So I'm a fan. Let's go to race number 10, the nightcap on Saturday. We've got a starter allowance field going 6.5 on the dirt. When it comes to all our viewers and listeners playing in the grade 1 gamble, how are they going to get paid?
I mean, what a skullbuster of a finish here, right? A race where I've made a 4-1 morning line favorite in the 9 Count the Brave, a horse that I called back in March of this year. And I always joke about talking about horses at major racetracks that I call at Sam Houston not having much of a chance. But hey, this is a horse that I know the trainer who had him that day, Austin Gustafson, got him into his barn. And he told me, he said, this horse is really good. He's fast, but I don't know how far he'll go. Well, David Jacobson figured it out, and he wants to go shorter. He's done it effectively now in his last couple of starts, including that good win last out at Churchill. So I thought he was a horse that you absolutely had to keep in the mix. The problem is, Pete, it looks like they're going to move in here. And you do have to worry about which Jacobson he's going to run. He also has the 6 Uncle William, so it's not certain that he's going to start both. I did think that Remy's Moon off the claim for our friend Reagan Swinbank, who reached in for 50 and took this Son of Enticed. I don't know if this is the best kind of situation. He's a little too far inside. He's a little too pace-oriented, I think, to get the right kind of trip, but it's not going to shock me if he runs a little bit better. I thought the 3 Dive Bomber was dangerous. First off, a claim by Aaron Shorter, has the ability to rate off of it and should get that good setup. So I'm deep here. I mean, I'm going to use every bit of the 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I would probably even be willing to toss in a horse like the 12, who might have an improving pattern and face better last out.
Any top pick, or is this just another spot?
I would pick Count the Brave on top. I don't, I'd like to have a better price, but that's where I'd go.
If you have an opinion like that in a contest, what do you try to do? Do you try to get alive in a double to all of them? Do you just keep grinding until you can get down to a couple? Like how if you were playing in the grade 1 gamble, how would you do it? Not grade 1 gamble, all contest, but you know what I mean.
I try to put 20 grand on the board before the nightcap.
Right. Let them come and catch you.
The problem you're going to run into is in a race where there are multiple horses between 4 and 8 to 1, you're vulnerable to everybody that can make a win bet of 5,000 or more.
Yeah, which is a lot of people.
Which is a ton of people.
Yeah.
So this is a nightmare for anybody who's playing the contest who isn't going to be able to get to a huge number that's going to put them over the top. If you do, and again, I mean, you do need to hit the last race to win the majority of these. Yeah, it's a tough spot for the contest.
I don't hate my idea of, you maybe play Opulent, Restraint, and Laurelin to 3 to 4 of them, and then you can move the goalposts and maybe come out ahead that way. There's always a debate about whether or not it's wise to tie up money in the double in case somebody hits something in the penultimate race. But I'm generally speaking, especially with a flat prize pool like this where it's not win or go home, I'm a big believer in just trying to get your money in as well as you can to get to the target number you want. And if somebody beats you, they beat you, but at least you've given it your best shot and you don't leave yourself too vulnerable in that situation you described. But smart people can disagree about that for sure.
No, I agree. I mean, I think you probably hold back, 1,000 or 1,500 if you want to make maybe a couple of token win bets. I don't really know if you can do that if you've got 3 or 4 horses you're alive to in the double. But yeah, for me, I mean, I'd be looking to end some stuff with Opulent Restraint. I'd be looking to bet Opulent Restraint and then maybe play a couple of doubles out of her.
The 2 that I was most interested in the nightcap are 2 that were in your 6-pack of runners to cover. The 8 Pineland, I thought had some solid dirt races. Joel fits this horse well in this spot, I think. Not the Opulent Restraint ride, but the other one, the good hold-up ride.
The more customary Joel ride.
I do think there's plenty of speed. And of the Jacobsons, it was Uncle William who I was drawn to. Up in class, but another I could just see getting the right kind of mid-pack closing run. He's going well at the moment. I just thought the last race from Uncle William was a little better than it looked closing into the blue fractions, and the horse was heading in the right direction. It's going to be fun to play these races at Keeneland, follow along with the contest as well. If you're an early bird listening to this show in the hours that it drops, I also do want to put in a plug. We have our ITM Horse Player Tour direct qualifier to the BCBC. Basically, it's a normal qualifier, but House Cut goes to charity, specifically equine aftercare. So that's a really good one to get involved in. Before we close out the show, Nick, I want to talk about this Keeneland card writ large on Saturday. We've got the fall contest. As we've discussed, folks can get involved in that over at Keeneland.com. If I was to hold your feet to the fire for a best bet on the day, who would you pick?
Opulent Restraint. Yeah, she'd be my best bet on the card. horse that I'm definitely looking forward to betting and hoping the little magic happens. We've seen a lot of wire-to-wire winners in this race over the years, and hoping that she can be another one.
You're going with the pick in the QE2. I'm going to go with my goofy long shot in the 7th race, the 4 Fayette Spirit. Again, I'm not convinced this horse is fast enough, but I think this horse might improve for the mile and 3/16. I'm assuming a very big price. I'll take a little shot, win place, messing around in exactas, trifectas with logical ones in that spot, including the 1, the 5, and the 6. But the main play being the 4 Fayette Spirit for me in race number 7. Nick, thank you so much. We'll have you back for another show where we talk about the Sunday racing at Keeneland. So I'll see you real soon.
Sounds great, my friend. Looking forward to it.